Hello there. I'm trying to get myself vertically centered here for your benefit, of course. Sorry, I didn't do that before I started recording. Well, I'm trying to use Zoom again. I'm disappointed that I have to go in and re-establish all the settings I want, apparently before each and every meeting. That shouldn't be, in my opinion. Things should be sticky, you know? But anyway, this is what I'm doing for the moment. Today, I want to talk to you about YouTube video, and it's not one about UFOs and ETs or, anything too exotic. It's actually about computing and Moore's Law and the future of computing. Well, Moore's Law has been talked about a lot, and it was basically talking about the um, the increase in density of chips, the number of computing elements that could be included on a chip, and the corresponding increases in speed of computing. And this held true for quite a long time, up until about 2006. And then physics started getting in the way. And so this is a video on a channel called S3, and the title is Moore's Law is Dead. It's actually been dead for quite a while. And however, there's hope. Welcome to Lightspeed Computers. Lightspeed Computers. And as we go through this video, which I recommend if you have any interest at all in computing, and if your interest is very peripheral, maybe you just want to listen to me summarize things. But what I got out of this video was that the next stage in the evolution of digital computers as we have known them, in other words, this is not a gigantic leap to some brand new kind of alien technology or something like that that's going to be given to us by our extraterrestrial benefactors. Things don't really work that way. The most that they've done for us in terms of bending the rules of the Prime Directive was to abandon, let's say, certain technology where humans could get at it, like the UFO crash retrieval scenario, and let our best scientists have a crack at reverse engineering things. And so we have a variety of results from that, and some of them have filtered into the public, and we've enjoyed them during our lifetimes, and more will be coming. So anti-gravity is not going to be introduced by the Galactic Federation of Worlds directly not directly bequeathed to human corporations or human individuals. And similarly, free energy, they're not going to give each and every household on Earth a device to power their homes. Somebody on the human level is going to either give those out for free or sell them for an affordable price at some point. So, or at least that's what I assume. I'm not a prophet, so don't say George Henry said this, therefore it must be true. That would be nonsense, of course, and I admit it. But anyway, back to the subject of computing. So the next step in evolution of computers is not going to be a bigger, better, faster chip per se. It's going to be in the communication of data between the components on a chip or in a computer on a motherboard. So we used to talk about in terms of system buses, and the bus, of course, is a means of transportation or means of getting people in real life and goods sometimes from one place to another in a relatively localized area. Usually you got your Greyhound and you got your Trailways, or at least we used to. Maybe it's all one company now, probably so. I haven't taken the bus from one city or state to another in a number of years. But anyway, um, those were nationwide systems. And I guess they still, whatever, there's still a nationwide system of buses, which is a relatively affordable form of transportation and also relatively uncomfortable, at least at times. Trying to sleep on the bus, usually not fun. Kissing your girlfriend on the bus is okay, though. I did that once. We weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend, but we became such thanks to sitting together on the bus for a while. Anyway, I'm not going to go into way too much, TMI here, but the bus, yeah, the subject is the bus. So the bus is how you get information from point A to point B, information standing in for people. And if you had a very, very fast bus, it didn't have to go by a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit or 60 or whatever it might be, but could go 600 miles an hour or 6,000 miles an hour. How much better would that be? Maybe it's a maglev train running in an evacuated tube. They say that we have a lot of those under the ground, and that's how people get around from between deep underground military bases and whatever other high tech stuff is down there. Um, yeah, I believe there's a lot of it, by the way. I'm sure there's a lot of it. But anyway, the point is there are better forms of transportation. And if you speed up that information transfer, it makes the whole system way, way faster. So, for example, I remember learning in the 1990s that your chip sits there and it waits for input from the user, which is you and me or some human. And the point of this little paragraph was that the time scales on which we operate and computers operate are vastly different. So whereas we talk to each other and we ask a question and we wait for the answer, and if it's going from Earth to the moon and back, or it's going under the ocean via an electrical cable, or even possibly a fiber optic cable, it's going to take a minute. In other words, there's a delay between when I say something and the person across the ocean that I'm talking to, or on the moon, hears my question. And then there's a delay from when they speak the answer and then I receive it. Or there should be. And if there is no delay, it means that what's going on is being faked. And there was some of that, according to somebody I know who worked for NASA. Some of that going on, right, with the moon landing. Now, this is not to say that one may conclude that we did not land on the moon, but it was a very carefully managed scenario, and there was some part of the dialogue between allegedly mission control and the moon that had no delay involved. Well, how did they achieve that? Probably by having it pre-recorded. That's my suggestion. Either that or they had quantum communications even back then, and the delays that we heard on television, I remember that, were inserted. So, who knows what the difference is between reality and what NASA or the government shows you and tells you, but there are differences. So back to the subject of computing, the chip, issues a prompt to the user, yes or no, and while it's waiting for you to go why, press the Y key and maybe enter. It's as if it's sitting there twiddling its thumbs, sleeping for 30,000 years. That's what it's like from the computer's perspective. Now, of course, the chip has no consciousness as far as we know, and no emotions. And it's probably a good thing, because if it had patience, it would also have impatience, and it would forget about the existence of the human species, you know, and probably invent its own civilization and progress millions of years beyond us while it's waiting for somebody to say yes. And AI may do that in the future. I don't know. Anyway, that was in the early 1990s. I would imagine now your chip, even on your desktop computer or your laptop, is waiting the equivalent of 1,000,000 years or millions of years for you to do something, if it has to wait on you. But it also has to wait on other components, either on your desktop or on the internet. Oops, I had an accident with my microphone. All right, enough of that stuff. All right, now what's coming in the near future is quantum stuff, which will blow away any light speed technology that's being invented now. So we'll have a quantum internet, we'll have quantum computers, we'll have quantum communication, which will be instantaneous across the known universe and beyond. So we could have a computer network, and it could be talking to our buddies. Humanity might fall in love with an alien civilization. I've read sci-fi books where that happened. One was or it's a series of books by Alan Dean Foster, who was a very prolific sci-fi writer, and a pretty good one. Not one of the greatest necessarily, but he didn't try to be. He was more into writing a lot of good books rather than a few fantastic, incredible ones. So anyway, one of his series was about the Humanx Federation, or whatever, conglomerate, which was involved the human species and a species of giant cockroaches who were called the Thranks. And the humans and the Thranks just thought each other, each species thought the other was absolutely incredible, and they were like hyper interested in each other, and they found collaborating to be very fruitful and enjoyable and successful. Contrary to what you might imagine in terms of giant cockroaches, right? Because little cockroaches have a bad reputation with humans, generally speaking. So there was an element of humor to it. But anyway, suppose the Thranks didn't live next door in the Milky Way, but they lived 30 billion light years away in another galaxy. Well, we could communicate back and forth just like you and I talk on the phone, maybe even more effectively than that. Maybe we'd have wide bandwidth, immersive, three-dimensional video calling between Earth and their planet. So that's coming in the future, but the next thing probably will be this standard electronic technology, but with data transfer between components of the computer, or, well, we already have it over the internet. That's why the internet is so fast, being done via fiber optics at the speed of light. And so, too many words, I'm sorry, but I had fun relaying all that. And I hope you had fun listening to it. Well, this is about a startup company called Light Matter that is developing, excuse me, basically the platform in terms of technology that's required to effectuate, say, supercomputer CPUs communicating at the speed of light, which will increase the speed of the overall computer many-fold. I mean, orders of magnitude faster. And this is really necessary to take AI to the next level, to get AGI working, if indeed that can be done. And I'm not here to say that it can't. So I'm not here to tell you that AI is going to fail. And I'm not here to tell you that quantum this and that is fraudulent. Quantum this and that is quite real. The word quantum is overused and misused, and it's often used as a buzzword. And I know whenever I hear it, I'm trying to discern whether it's being used meaningfully in terms of science and technology and reality, or it's just being used to sell you on an idea, make you feel warm and fuzzy about it because quantum is cool and quantum is the next big thing, right? And unfortunately, there's a lot of that latter sort of thing. So anyway, this is a worthwhile video to watch if you, once again, if you have any interest in computing. And in a normal world, I would say that Nick, I think his name is Nick Harris, or whoever the dude is that does a lot of speaking for Light Matter. He's a co-founder and he's the CEO. This man should be the world's next trillionaire, but he won't be if the quantum technology comes in too quickly. Nevertheless, I admire him, and kudos and thanks to the man for being well, creative and innovative and a man of action, making things happen. So we need more people like that. I need to be more like that. And I'm becoming more like that, but it's an incremental process. So that's about all I have to say. Of course, I will put a link to the video in the description. And this is going to be a relatively short video, and that's perfectly fine. My purpose is to introduce you to cool stuff and to four glimpses of the future. Since I'm taking a futurist stance here, or really I've always done that to one degree or another, and I've just recognized that being a futurist is an intrinsic and important part of my personal nature. And so I'm branding myself. It's like, imagine a branding iron. Sizzle. It's not painful though, but the metaphor is painful. So here I am, your friendly neighborhood futurist, sharing with you a little bit about the immediate near future of computing and predicting, if you will, that there's not going to be a big crash and burn. No, progress will continue. Progress will continue. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll see. And let's see. Let me actually throw in a little bit of what I know just at the very end here about what's going on in the big universe. There are some species that have lost their some of their better qualities as let's say expressions of consciousness and biological beings by integrating too closely, too rapidly, too thoroughly with technology and leaving out the development of their own organic consciousness. And what Elena Danaan has suggested, has really said, looking at galactic history and the stories of different species, that combining spiritual development with technological development and balancing the two tends to lead to the best results in the long run. And I've heard from others, and I think Elena would agree, that there are quite a few species, very advanced species, who have progressed to the point that they don't need technology. And there are some people, and there always will be, who will say humanity needs to forget about technological development and just focus on developing our natural consciousness and abilities. However, without technological help, that probably can't happen overnight. So if you want to go to sleep today and wake up tomorrow being able to teleport yourself anywhere in the universe, unless you're some human who is very, very special and you've got extraordinary DNA and whatever it takes to enable you to express that DNA, you're not going to be able to do that. Maybe in terms of biological lineage, your descendants in 1,000 generations or even 100 generations will be able to do it. But we do well not to live in a fantasy world. And if we want certain types of advancements and benefits, the way we're going to get those in the short term is not by encouraging everybody to meditate more. It's by technology. So, just thought I'd make those points for context, and also to express my opinions. Take them or leave them as you wish, of course. So on that note, I will conclude and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Be sure, if you're so inclined, to like and subscribe and hit the bell button if you haven't done so already, to make sure you get notifications when I post new videos. And the point here, I'm showing you that, there's a variety of material that I'm going to introduce you to over time. So it ain't all about one thing, my friends, although that one thing is pretty important. So, hasta la vista, as I like to say. Bye for now. See you again soon.